The turning torso skyscraper in Malmö really transformed the skyline of that city, just Sweden's third largest city. What's happened since then? 'Cause it's been 10 years and Malmö has changed a lot.
Malmö has changed a lot and it's still changing, but I think the turning torso came in a moment when the inhabitants in Malmö, they wanted a symbol for the change because the city had been in a very bad shape before. They needed something new. All the work disappeared from Malmö, and the city, together with some housing association, made the decision to start an exhibition there, and it has continued, and it still continues to get new ideas of housing in Malmö.
And Malmö was an industrial town, right?
It was actually an industrial town, but it has changed a lot. So now it's a symbol for the knowledge village. We got a university actually built on the old premises of the shipyard, and that was also a very symbolic issues and decision the city took, because it could be also, it depended on the ground was very cheap because the city owned it, so it was a win-win situation to use that land as well.
And that area of the harbor front, the former industrial area, is now part of a master plan called BO01.
Yes.
Right? Tell us about that.
It started about 1995. I had an idea of using the old shipyard site. And I said, we are going to build houses here instead. And I had a competition against architects and constructors, and I think they were actually very thrilled to be able to use a whole area, because before in Malmö, when they built new houses, you just tore down an old one and built a new on that old ground. But this was something new. You could design the whole area by themselves. So that was very exciting for them, I guess.
What sort of designs did they come up with that were different than what had been developed in Malmö previously?
Because before we had a sort of model, because they needed a lot of houses. We call it the Million Program because the government has said we have to get 1 million new apartments for the people in Sweden. And they built every house and construction at that time looked exactly the same. But here they could use their fantasy and all the creative initiatives they had to do this in the BO01. So it was actually a sort of fireworks that started at that time.
You mentioned looking in 1995 and seeing the harbor area and saying, let's build houses here. Yeah. Why did you think that? Why houses? Why there? I mean, how did you come up with that idea?
I think they saw a sort of new possibility to move the city a little. And they couldn't grow in any other directions at that time. They do now, but at that time they saw that an area that could use that.
Do you think that BO01 plan could have happened without the twisting torso skyscraper?
It could have happened. I am convinced about that, but you couldn't get the effect of it if you hadn't the turning torso, because it actually got to be the real symbol of all the houses and the area and actually the city, because I think the inhabitants of Malmö, they can identify them first with turning torso, because as I said before, HSB Malmö is a cooperative housing association with 46,000 members. And that means a lot of the people in Malmö are involved in HSB. And almost 2/3 of the population lives in a HSB house. So that meant I got an identification with the tower, and I also got an identification with the city and the change of the city.
That makes me wonder, the HSB or HSB Malmö, this cooperative housing association, sounds, in some ways very Scandinavian, very Swedish.
Yeah.
But Is there something that other cities, other countries around the world could learn from House Bay or how you operate as a cooperative when it comes to providing affordable housing? Because that's a problem in cities all over the world.
Yes, you mentioned the affordable aspect of it as well, because we have about, when we are building new houses, we are building, right now we have about 200 apartments in production. And we don't take any profit of it. The profit goes back to all the members. So I think that's also a carrot or for those who wants to buy or rent the apartment, because I know that we are not cheating them, we are helping them. Well, I can't say the other colleagues are cheating them, but they make more money for the owners.
Sure, but I guess it's a different relationship with your client then.
Yeah, it is.
So you mentioned how Malmö has changed so much since the Twisting Torso, and it's still changing.
Yeah.
So what are you looking forward to? Where's Malmö headed? What's next now that this harborfront has been redeveloped? Is there a new area of the city like that? Or what happens now that you've transitioned from that industrial city to one that's more based on the so-called knowledge economy?
Yeah, one of the goals that we have, that is to build more apartments. And we have got some new areas from the city that we can build on as well. And we also want to build a little bit cheaper. So perhaps we should go back, not to back to the Million program when they just made, you know, sort of magazines for people. We wanted to have it architectural, very nice, but we have to look at the costs as well. So something in between there, I think it could be interesting to build. And the city of Malmö also uses the Turning Torso concept in a new part of the city, because they are building a new 22 levels house, a very futuristic. It actually got a prize last year in MIPIM in Europe for its construction and new thinking.
What's the name of the project?
It's Culture Cashbar. Culture Cashbar. And it's very interesting to see that they are continuing the idea of building this in a social vulnerable area. But I think that this can be very interesting for developers, investors to see, and also for the people. Those who live there, and now there are going to be 400 new apartments, this area could be more attractive than it's now. So I think they are very brave, the city of Malmö, to do that.
It's an interesting lesson maybe for developers too, that you can take a risk like that and with a tall building catalyze development in a new area.
Yeah, it is. It really is. But it actually shows that the city believes it. If you can do that, the people will start to change their mind about the area as well. So I think it's very unique. Actually, this is, I don't know, it's not a science that I am promoting. Actually, I am a lawyer. I've been working with construction damages and all that. I had contracts and everything, and now we are talking about subtle values. I'm not really used to that. I would more say that I'm a sort of observer and can observe how much a building can mean for a city and for the people.